Hello and welcome into the Sporting Pod. Along with Emerson, Burris, and Mauricio Ruiz, I'm Cole Pepper. Tony Allegretti has a big deal meeting today. We'll learn more about that later. Coming up today on the pod, we hear from the new men's coach, Liam Fox, announced this week for Sporting JAX. A look ahead to some key dates for the men's team in the USL Championship, and the women look to bounce back in Dallas. We are fed by The Bearded Pig, locally owned and operated with the original location in San Marco. Make sure you swing by The Bearded Pig for great barbecue and great times. That was
pretty good.
Not bad. Not bearded, but, there we go. All right, on Tuesday, Sporting JAX introduced to the world the first men's coach in club history, and it's Liam Fox, who comes from Hearts of Midlothian, Hearts in Scotland. The last two positions he held there as the caretaker for Hearts, a club he has a deep history with. Thoughts on the introduction? And I'll start with you, Emerson. You were there in the room. What'd you think?
I was there. I think it's really exciting. Like I've been saying for a few weeks now, I know the process of getting the men's team started now because I saw firsthand what it takes for the women. And so it just adds that level of excitement. I mean, we've got some big dates and we have the countdown and it's all started. And I'm really excited to see what he does on the men's side. I think there's some big expectations, but it was a great press conference. I think you know a lot more than me. You got to sit down with him and do a one-on-one. But yeah, I'm really excited and I'm happy he's here.
We'll hear a bit of that here in just a moment. Mauricio, big picture, your thoughts on the move?
I think it's a great move. I think it's consistent with our women's hire, which is a little bit untraditional or unfamiliar, if you would kind of put it, but something that is different. If you know anything about Mark Wahlberg, is that he does not like the repeated same old recycle of coaches in the USL or coaches that have done it before at different degrees. So he knows something about Liam that we probably don't know. Same way he knew something about Stacey that a lot of people didn't know, and it's working out in its own direction and its own timing. Liam is young; he has to prove himself. He's got a long managerial career in front of him, and I like that. I like that it's someone coming in here for a new project that has a lot to prove, rather than, I've done it before. Whether it works out or not, it's inconsequential because my name is still clear. I think it's someone that's going to be hungry and innovative, and it's exactly what the city needs.
All right, let's hear a little bit of my conversation with Liam Fox, where I asked him about the decision to come to Jacksonville and what drew him to this opportunity. Launching a team from the ground up does offer a great opportunity. There are those challenges you mentioned. What are the important things before things really start getting rolling and the players start arriving that you can do to start sort of setting the tone for the men's team?
Well, like you say, I think it's unique, especially to me, having worked in the UK for so long. You don't really get this kind of opportunity. So what's going to be important moving forward is setting the culture and the environment, and obviously the recruitment of the squad and the roster. That's a process that Mark's already been on top of, and that's going to be our next focus for the next period. And then when you're speaking to these players, you get the opportunity to chat to them, and you get to sell your vision, and ultimately what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set the parameters and the boundaries of the environment of what we want it to be and how high performance we want it to be, because we want it to be a really, really good environment that involves loads and loads of learning and development. I talk quite a lot about engagement, challenging and supporting players, and that's the sort of messages that we've been putting across to them. Three things that are really, really important to me is you always put the team first. Second of all, you've got to be open to learning and trying new things. And third of all is really, really quite simple. You must always give your best. So these are three things that we're hoping that our environment's going to be. Well, I'm saying hoping our environment is going to be built on these three things.
Do you have a feel for the kind of play you want to see from a tactical standpoint or a strategic standpoint?
Yeah, I think probably at the stage I'm at in my career, and the different clubs that I've worked at, and the different individuals as in managers that I've worked for, and all these experiences shape you, and I've had some good experiences and some bad ones, and again that shapes you and helps you. But I'm really, really clear on how I see the team functioning and performing moving forward. If you want me to give you a bit more detail on that, I think it's got to be exciting. It's got to put a product on the pitch where everybody gives their absolute maximum every single day. We're going to look to dominate the ball. We're going to look to play with high energy. and it's got to be exciting. And we've got to put that product on the pitch to hopefully engage with the community and the supporters, so that they can look forward to coming and watching us and enjoy. And hopefully, if we do that, we believe that we'll have a successful period.
One of the things that I think is unique here is you're coming into a situation where there's already a women's team. In Scotland and most of the world, it went the other way, right? Men's team played for a long time, then the women's game started to come up. Are there any lessons you can learn from what Stacey Balaam has experienced starting things up here in Jacksonville that you think may carry over?
Absolutely. Met Stacey for the first time this morning, so I'm sure I'm going to be picking her brain a lot over the next period. Of course, there's similarities. Whenever you start something new, somebody who's been through the same similar process is a great tool to be able to go and speak to and ask advice for. But ultimately, we need to find our way, and we need to create our own environment. So if there's lessons to be learned from her journey, then it would be naive and silly of me not to take her up and ask these types of questions.
Let me ask you about some personal things. You have a family. What are your expectations in terms of the family and getting them to Jackson?
Yeah, well, first of all, they're super excited about this opportunity for me. And again, my process now is making sure that we build the roster and build the squad. And then the kids will come and visit in a period of time, and my wife can come over. So I'm going to immerse myself in the culture, immerse myself in the environment here, and really focus on that for the first period. And then hopefully in time the family and the kids can come over and join us.
It must have been quite a conversation. I mean, talking with your wife, that this is an opportunity that could have come up. You knew when you got into coaching that this might be an opportunity that you might wind up leaving Scotland, leaving the UK. Was it an easy conversation? Were they long conversations? Take us inside there.
It was an easy conversation in the sense of once I explained the opportunity to Lindsay, and once I kind of mapped out the journey and like in any conversation with any partner and wife and husband, etc., there was back and forth. But ultimately, I've got a really supportive wife and family who want the best for me and my career. And ultimately, when we sat down and we discussed it, it was actually a no-brainer. Just the uniqueness of the opportunity, coming and working in a thriving country for soccer, and ultimately working with some really good people that are already here. I can see the work that Steve and Ricky have already put into this process. I can see the work that Mark's done over the last sort of 6-7 months getting it to this point. So my responsibility in that is trying to put a real good, exciting product on the pitch that, I'll repeat myself, but can engage with the community, and they can get behind and hopefully get behind and support us, and they can be excited by it.
All right, there's Liam Fox. Emerson, your reaction to those comments from the new head coach?
I love hearing all of that. And as we were listening, I was looking back at my transcript of my interview with Mark Warburton. And one of the things he said is this was a long process to try to find the right person. And he said, you have to find the right person in terms of what drives them, their ambition, personal goals, but also do they understand the opportunity in front of them? And I think listening to all of that, he does understand the opportunity and big expectations. And I think he's ready for the job.
Mauricio, as a coach, sometimes you want to have the right messaging for your team. And when he talks about 3 things that he wants, team first, open to learning, and give your best efforts, that's a pretty easy thing to wrap your brain around. Do you like the sort of coaching messaging that he was laying out there?
I do, because then it talks about the bigger picture. It would be easy and it would probably be really popular and attractive to say, I'm here to win. And if you're a coach and that's not a given, I'm a little bit different in that sense, where people say, I'm here to win, but like, yeah, that's the expectation, right? Like you're in sports, you're in professional sport. If you weren't here to win, then I'm not really sure that we got the right person. So I think that doesn't need to be said oftentimes, that we're here to win. The thing that he says shows, once again, Mark's vision for long-term success. There's a lot of what you don't know until you step into the shoes and until you move your family here and you start working with the players. But culture, identity, style of play, community, like that, those are the tangible things that, whether there's instant success or long-term and before, after Liam, that needs to be instilled within the culture of the team. And I do think that he's going to pick up a lot of the women's team culture, but it's actually a larger organizational culture that he needs to kind of fit and align, because he's going to have a lot of autonomy in decision making on building his roster that does not need to be built like our Super League team. He can build it specifically for the USL Championship. So style of play doesn't necessarily need to match the women's team, but an identity of competitiveness, greediness, entertaining, which is what Stacey has been able to instill within her team. I think you should expect those two things to be aligned.
You know, one of the other things, Emerson, that stood out to me was he was talking about his style of soccer. Exciting soccer, dominate the ball, high energy. Well, that certainly sounds like a team we know a little bit
I was
about.
just going to say that. Yeah, yep. I'm excited, and I wonder if it's going to be pretty possession-based, as we are.
I would think.
It kind of sounds like it, but I like the high energy.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone loves high energy, so yeah, it's great.
The other thing that I will point out, and Mauricio has spent a lot of time watching USL Championship teams over the last 3, 4, 5 years. When you compare the pace of the game, you can really see that the championship has a lot of teams that have focused on moving the ball quickly and getting speed on the pitch. Now, the difference maybe now versus 5 years ago is you have more big players who can run than before. Is that your observation, Mauricio? And do you think that this approach to play a possession-based, high-energy style suits the USL Championship?
I think it does, but I think what you see from a modern coach is more of a hybrid. In fact, if you look at the Premier League, which typically sets a lot of standards, this is the least possession and more what I will say direct play versus long ball, right? Like long ball is kind of a term that was used back in the day for teams that really didn't have a plan on how to build out. Now it's more vertical play, that it's a direct pass rather than be a 15-yard pass. It's a 35 to 55-yard pass. So this year in the Prem, you have a lot more of these direct passes, and it's a lower possession category than ever before because coaches are adapting to this era of high intensity possession. So I think what you see from Liam as a young, innovative coach that's keeping his ears to the trends of world football is a hybrid of it all. If you can possess the game enough, but the other team just got comfortable with sitting in and keeping a low block, then you actually have to get into the opposition's half quicker so that direct ball happens a little bit quicker. So then you can gain possession again higher up the territory. So I do think you're going to see a ball-dominant team, but don't expect 800 passes because that's actually the trend that we're moving away from. But it's more dangerous direct ball creation than that old boring kind of passing around the back style.
We're also seeing a whole lot more in the way of complex set pieces now in the Prem and more scoring off of throw-ins, long throws than we've seen in the past too. So maybe that's part of that evolution or that cyclical evolution of the game. We'll see how long that takes to become the norm in the USL Championship. Do want to remind you or let you know, because I don't think we've talked about it on this show before, there's a new family pack available from Sporting JAX. You can choose up to 8 tickets to a game. You get a hot dog or burger, chips, and a drink with each ticket. Choose any game on the schedule. Just go to sportingjax.com or call 904-863-KICK to get your family 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-pack today. All right, there are some key dates for the USL Championship to consider. Right now, you can place your season ticket deposits for the men's team. $25 reserve your spot for a ticket by calling 904-863-KICK. We expected the schedule to be out at some point in later November. It may get pushed to December now, though, Mauricio, because North Carolina FC has announced that they will not play in the championship this next year, and possibly the following year as they try to prepare to go to Division I. This is an odd move to me, and I'm curious to learn more about what's behind it. But that's going to push back the start of or the release of the schedule as a result, because they've been working diligently in the USL office to get the championship schedule out for next season. Now they're going to have to figure out how to work without one of those teams. So we'll see how that all plays out. Training camp starts in early January, and the regular season is slated to kick off in March. On Tuesday, I said it was 123 days till the season opener. That was an estimation, assuming we open on that first Saturday in March. Now it's less than that. We're inside 120 days. So, Mao, it's getting close.
It is, and you're right. The timing of North Carolina FC, because they're in playoffs right now, and they've won their first
Yeah.
round, and
They're the highest
hosting a
remaining
second
seed
round.
in the East right now.
Right. It's so the timing of it now, you could speak internally with the league and let them know without going public about it that you won't be returning next year. So they're probably, this is one of those that we never really know what's going on in the auto shop in there, because there's a lot of things under the hood that we're just not privy to. But there had to be a reason why this came out at this time, because it does not look well timed and where they are in the season. However, I do like the fact that they are reorganizing themselves to then make a bid or prepare themselves for what we call, most likely is going to be called the Premier League, the USL Premier League. If you look at the trend of the name of the other leagues within the USL ecosystem, and so that means that they're not out of it. It's not one of those kind of situations where we have seen in the past where a team closing shop because it just wasn't sustainable. It's actually now a reorganization. So then possibly in 2027, 28, whenever the Premier League does start, they get themselves back in. Because remember, North Carolina FC, they also have Courage that play inside the NWSL. So they have an organization in place already for football. It's going to stay alive in that sense. Now they're kind of getting themselves ready. But bringing it back to Jacksonville, I mean, this is exciting, Cole, right? We've had over 10 years ago a professional team here in our era. I know there's a team man back in the day. So there's a lot of good culture of men's professional football in this area, and where the USL is and where it's going. And then now you have the women's team to stand on the shoulder of our women. I think it's going to be incredible to kind of have two products for the first time. And I think we are probably one of the first organizations historically to have started with the women, learn the lessons, and then launch the men's team. So I think there's a lot of really good storytelling to come forward. So I think you and Emerson will be plenty busy.
I was just going to say that, Mao. I'm exhausted listening to all of these key dates. My goodness, we're going to be so busy, but I'm better when I'm busy. I need to stay busy.
Well, that's
so
why they
good.
pay you guys the big bucks. So you guys can handle it.
Clearly. All right. Sporting JAX on TV and radio. The Sporting JAX report comes to you at noon Saturday on NBC 12. You can join us every Tuesday at 6 for the Coaches Show on 1010XL. Stacey Balaam joins me along with a player. Occasionally, other members of the staff will jump in. And now the Sporting JAX Soccer Hour every Thursday night at 6 on AM 930, Fox Sports Radio Jacksonville, and the iHeart app. Mauricio, Becky Burley, Emerson, and me on that show. Okay. Sporting JAX women face Dallas on Saturday. It's a 4 p.m. start. We'll talk about that game in just a moment. But Emerson, Sporting JAX will be at Porch Fest in Springfield. That's Tony's neighborhood now, and I am so excited for you to be able to experience Porch Fest because I think it is one of the best community events in Jacksonville every year.
Cole, I have bad news. I'm not going to be at Porch Fest.
No.
I know.
Oh, no.
Will you be there?
Of course.
Okay, well, I need you
I never miss it even if I'm not working.
I need you to go into your influencer era and vlog for me and send me lots of videos and pictures so I can act like I'm there.
Oh, gosh.
But
okay.
I know I'm so sad that I won't be there, but I've heard it's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
I've got a number of friends who are in bands who are performing on different porches, so I'm excited about that, including our friend Jeremy Baker from Grace Note Brewing. He and Inspection 12 will be playing out there, so that'll be a lot of fun. The game on Saturday in Dallas, in the Cotton Bowl, Mauricio, big bounce-back game for Sporting JAX coming off their first road loss in club history.
It is, and I think, at Dallas, another team that's doing very, very well, coming off of our first road loss, as you mentioned, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our girls to bounce back. They have shown resiliency throughout the entire season, especially in a 3-game road trip that we had, away road trip. So this is a really good battle for them to kind of reposition ourselves with where we believe we belong, which with the elite and top 4 of the league.
Dallas got off to a hot start. They were rolling when they came to town and beat Sporting JAX 1-0. Since then, they have really struggled. In fact, 1 draw, 4 losses in their last 5, and the 1 draw was against Tampa Bay Sun, a team that's still looking for their first victory. So, Emerson, I think this is a good chance to bounce back and get a little retribution.
I think so, too. And when I spoke to Ashlyn Puerta and Georgia Brown earlier this week, they said because they lost on the road against Lexington, it just gives them that much more firepower to get this win. And when I asked Stacy about it, I said, you didn't get the win against Dallas when they came to Jacksonville a few months ago. And she said, gosh, that was so long ago. I forgot about it. But we just move on after every game. And so, yeah, I think they have the firepower to get the win.
All right. Usually this would be the time where we would ask Tony to break format. Instead, I'm going to ask Emerson. Hey, Emerson, what did you do last night?
I was out at Veterans Park.
And what were you doing there?
I was at an event that was put on by Adidas, and shout out to our merchandise manager, Anthony Ortiz. He and Adidas have a great partnership, and they work together, and got to see some boots, and a bunch of the Sporting JAX kiddos were out there, and they got to try on the new boots and do some drills and interact with different people in the club. And Liam Fox, our head coach, was out there, and it was great. And then there was some top secret things revealed in a tent, which I can't talk about. But it was really cool, and the kids were really excited, and I talked to a few of them, and they said it makes me jump higher, and they make me run faster. So I don't know if that's true, but they were ecstatic.
Mauricio, it's science that new shoes make you run faster, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's the only reason why I was super slow, because otherwise, I would have been much faster, because I always got the heavy boots.
Mm-hmm.
But it is science, Cole, that if you wear white shoes, you are faster.
Yeah. I always thought it was the brighter colored shoes, the faster you were.
And there were some bright colors last night. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's automatic.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our Premier League contest. I have Tony's pick. But let me review last week where Mauricio picked Liverpool over Aston Villa. That's a win. Mao now on 17 points, 5 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws. Tony got his first draw of the season. He had picked Forest over Man U. That was a draw. So Tony now 5-3-1 with 16 points. Emerson and I both picked Newcastle over West Ham. And darn it, if West Ham didn't go out there and lay one on them. So we get the L. Emerson, 3-3-2, 11 points. I'm tied with Mauricio atop the table, 5-2-2, 17 points. Let's make some picks. Tony has communicated to me that he is going with West Ham to keep the winning streak going over Burnley. Mauricio?
I have Chelsea over Wolves. We have just let go of their manager. And I think Chelsea is a significantly favorite at home against Wolves.
I also have Chelsea over Wolves. So one way or another, you and I are going to remain tied. Where we are in the standings, another story. Emerson, who has threatened to quit.
Guys, at this point, I'm just going to start throwing random teams out there because this is not good. And
3-game losing skid since you were
horrible.
in first. You couldn't stand the top of the table.
I know. It's fine.
Emerson, weren't you choosing by favorite color jersey in the beginning, and you're doing so well, and now you
no, I just wasn't putting as much thought into it in the beginning. And then I started to put more thought into it. Yeah. So I'm just going to not care as much. So I haven't picked Everton yet.
Ooh.
So I'm going Everton over Fulham.
Look at mascots that typically.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mel. I appreciate it.
See which,
A lot of mascots to choose from.
We'll see what happens this Saturday.
All right. So there's the pick. If you would like to join us on our pick, find some friends and just pick Premier League games and tell us about it later. You can email us at thesportingpod@sportingjax.com. All right, that'll do it for this week. What a week it's been.
Yeah.
And by the way, Emerson, don't go anywhere when we're done. I have to give you a little more on the schedule moving forward. Some inside information. All right. That's straight ahead. And for you, I want to thank you for joining us. If you have enjoyed and do enjoy this podcast, what's wrong with you? But if you do, please share it with your soccer fan friends. We want to continue to grow the community. So my thanks to Tristan and Nick here at the Gemstone Media Studios. For the highly important and absent Tony Allegretti, Mauricio Ruiz, and Emerson Burris, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks for listening to
The Sporting Pod.